Hello, and welcome to the Fort Belvoir Bowhunters Orientation. This orientation is required by all bowhunters at Fort Belvoir and is only required to be taken once unless changes are complex enough to require everyone to retake the orientation. By now, you should have read the Fort Belvoir Watercraft Recreation, Hunting and Fishing Manual that can be found on the Fort Belvoir iSportsman website. Everything you need to know about hunting on Fort Belvoir can be found in the manual. Fort Belvoir follows all Virginia DWR and federal hunting and game laws. Fort Belvoir does modify state and federal game laws by making them stricter. For example, we are permitted to extend the late urban archery season to the end of April, but our season ends at the end of March to not conflict with spring gobbler season. Be mindful that what occurs in other states and military installations does not always apply to Virginia and/or Fort Belvoir, such as baiting and using natural deer scents, which are both illegal in the state of Virginia. If there is something you still do not understand, feel free to call the Conservation Branch with specific questions. The Conservation Branch hotline is 703-915-5682. This number can be called after hours for emergencies or during normal operating hours for general hunting questions or inquiries. You can also email the hunting fishing email address with questions as well. Let's get started. Before you can bow hunt on Fort Belvoir, in addition to this orientation, you must complete a bow hunter safety course. This is in addition to the standard hunter safety course required by state agencies. A link to the safety course offered by the Virginia DWR can be found in your manual, or a course taken in another state is also acceptable. You must also watch a UXO safety video, purchase required Virginia DWR licenses and permits, especially an archery permit unless you purchase the Sportsman's Combo, and complete a qualification test. A qualification schedule will be posted on the iSportsman website, but is generally held in the evenings on Tuesday and Thursday and throughout the day on Saturdays and Sundays. After October 1st, qualifications are done by appointment only with volunteers or Conservation Branch staff. All requirements and documents will be produced at the time of qualification, as well as proof of access, such as a CAC card, military ID, or visitor's pass. The qualification requires each bow hunter to shoot an arrow with broadheads into an 8-inch circle, making 2 out of 3 shots at both 20 and 30 yards. Those using crossbows can sit, stand, or use the aid of a monopod, bipod, or tripod. Exceptions for youth or those using recurs can be found in the manual. Only after passing the qualification will permits be available for purchase. For those participating in the Fairfax County Deer Management Program, Quantico Archery Hunting Program, or other similar program that requires a qualification equal to or greater than Fort Belvoir, you may provide your documents and proof of qualification to the Conservation Branch in person or by emailing them to the hunting and fishing email address found on the homepage of iSportsman and within the manual. Do not email photos of your CAC or military ID, as this is against the law. Those must be shown in person. Now that you have qualified to purchase permits, it's time to begin thinking about learning where to hunt. Maps of hunting areas can be found in the manual as well as on the iSportsman website under the Maps tab. Maps are not available for purchase. Be sure to study the maps and learn area boundaries. If unsure, consult the interactive map on iSportsman under the Maps tab. When you click on an area, it will show the boundaries. Before scouting or hunting, you can consult the interactive map for details on open and closed areas. All hunting areas except for those in the Southwest Training Area and Northwest area are accessed from designated parking spots. Parking spots are designated by a P found on hunting maps, or a physical sign at each spot. A written description and GPS points for all parking spots can be found in the back of the manual. The large tract of land referred to as the Southwest Training Area that includes areas such as T6B and T8 is also accessible from Old Colchester Road. A gate located about a half-mile from Route 1 is used for access. The code to the lock will be provided when you check in to hunt. The large tract of land in the northwest that includes T16 and W4 is accessed through a gate located along Kingman Road, a quarter-mile past the PX and commissary. The code to the lock will be provided when you check in to hunt. If time permits, Fort Belvoir does offer a scouting season before the general bow hunting season begins. Dates for scouting will be announced on the website, and a notification shall be emailed to permitted hunters. Only those with bow hunting and scouting permits will be permitted to scout. You may not scout or access hunting areas without appropriate hunting permits and checking into each area. Tree stands, ground blinds, and trail cameras may be placed during this time. All tree stands, sticks, ladders, and ground blinds must have your Fort Belvoir permit number attached or written and visible from the ground. For those planning to install tree stands in housing areas H1, 2, 4, 5, and 6, you may place a climber at the base of the tree and lock the climbing aid to the platform, or if using lock-on style tree stands, you must not install climbing sticks or steps on the bottom 8 feet of the tree to prohibit access to the tree stand. You may attach sticks or steps to the bottom 8 feet of the tree when you are hunting. All tree stands and trail cameras are required to be removed by the last day of spring turkey season. Scouting, along with the placement of tree stands and trail cameras, is permitted only during the general hunting seasons. If only scouting, you will still select deer hunting as an activity if scouting during the hunting season. Hunting season dates can be found in the manual under both the deer and turkey section. You can also determine what areas are open and closed upon making reservations or checking in. Areas may be closed at any time for training, construction, research, or other activities. Some areas have specific sections that are closed within them to accommodate nesting of bald eagles. Housing areas H1 through 6 are closed on weekends, holidays, and whenever Fairfax County Public Schools are closed. Housing areas 1 through 6 also close at 1500 daily when children return home from school. For areas that are tree stand only areas, such as housing areas, you may not traverse through the area with arrows nocked or bolts loaded in crossbows. During spring turkey season, hunting from ground blinds is permitted in areas that are tree stand only during deer season. Once you are ready to hunt, you may choose to make a reservation. Reservations may only be made between the hours of 12:30 to 2400 on the day before you plan to hunt. You are not required to make a reservation, but this ensures you have a guaranteed spot to hunt. As the season progresses, and especially during the end of October through mid-November, participation is at its highest, so you may want to consider making a reservation. If you do not check in before 0600 on the day you plan to hunt, your reservation will be canceled. Continual cancellation of reservations may lead to a possible suspension. Before entering any hunting area, you must check in to the area you plan to hunt. All persons, whether hunting or participating with you, must check in. You are not permitted to take friends or family along without them having an iSportsman account and checking in. For example, if you would like to take your child but they are not hunting, they must still have an account and purchase the Bow Hunting Apprentice No Weapons permit and check in. This allows us to know who is in each area, especially if there is an emergency. You may only check in beginning at 0500. You may not access any hunting area, including accessing gates found along Old Colchester Road and Kingman Road, before 0500. You must only check in if you are hunting. For example, you are not permitted to check in and go to work or elsewhere. Upon vacating a hunting area, you are required to check out. You may stay checked into an area if you take a break for lunch or something similar or short in time. If you are not hunting for a prolonged period, you must check out. At the end of each day, if you are not checked out, you will receive a text message from iSportsman reminding you to check out. The most common violation is forgetting to check out. Please be mindful that Conservation Branch personnel and emergency personnel are tracking who is checked out. If you do not check out by the required time, the Conservation Branch or law enforcement will be calling you. If you do not answer, they will call your emergency contact. If no contact is made, law enforcement may be asked to drive to the hunting area to search for your vehicle. If no vehicle is found, law enforcement may proceed to your address to ensure you are safe. Failure to check out disrupts not only the personal lives of the Conservation Branch, but may unnecessarily devote emergency personnel and resources to search for you. If you are late checking out due to an emergency, tracking a deer, or other inconvenience, please call the Conservation Branch. If tracking a deer, you will be late checking out, call the Conservation Branch and let us know. You must remain checked in. Do not check out. If you need to leave your area and enter another area, you may check into that area if it is still legal hunting hours. Otherwise, remain checked into the original area, but let the conservation branch know you are entering another area. If you would like to have someone help you, they must be a permitted hunter. You are not permitted to solicit help from friends and family that are not permitted hunters. Let the conservation branch know who is helping you, especially after hours, because that person will be unable to check into an area. If you would like to solicit help of a tracker with a tracking dog, call the conservation branch first to confirm and obtain approval. If you have harvested game, do not check out yet. There are several requirements that you must perform before leaving Fort Belvoir. Deer may be gutted in the field and then transported to the check station located behind Building 778 MWR Outdoor Recreation. A game pole with hoist is provided to weigh game or skin game if preferred. All deer and turkey must be weighed using the provided scale and gambrel. Deer sex, weight, and antler measurements must be taken, as well as removing the jawbone. Turkey sex, weight, spur, and beard lengths must also be measured. Directions for measuring antlers and removing the jawbone can be found with the equipment located at the game pole. After removing the jawbone and obtaining the measurements, jawbone tags can be found with the equipment and are pre-numbered in order. Affix the jawbone tag with your name to the jawbone and place in the cooler. For those wishing to mount their deer, you may keep the jawbone attached, but you have 30 days to return the jawbone from the taxidermist. All deer must have their head removed for CWD sampling. Proceed to Building 780 next to Outdoor Rec, where a cooler is provided by Virginia DWR for CWD sampling. Directions for head removal along with sampling bags and information cards can be found in the cooler. Deer being mounted can be taken to the taxidermist first, but tell the taxidermist to save the head plus 4 inches of neck. You must return the head within 30 days for sampling. For those wishing to Euro-mount the deer, place a note in the bag indicating you want it back for Euro-mount. Staff will return the head upon completion of sampling. Once finished, be sure to check your game with the Virginia DWR. You will be provided with a confirmation number. You may now check out. Upon checkout, you will be asked to enter the deer or turkey's information into iSportsman, as well as the Virginia DWR confirmation number. DMAP tags are provided to Fort Belvoir by Virginia DWR. DMAP tags are for antlerless deer, and each hunter is given 2 upon request. For those wishing to obtain DMAP tags for free, you may visit the conservation branch. DMAP tags may only be used at Fort Belvoir and are not transferable, nor are they replaceable if lost. If you use a DMAP tag for antlerless deer, you may obtain more upon request. Hunters serve as eyes and ears for Fort Belvoir in many ways. If you see something unusual, such as a potential hunting or fishing violation, call the Fort Belvoir Police or the Conservation Branch immediately. Do not wait, as some activity or evidence may be crucial for investigations or the apprehension of a potential violator on the spot. Report unsafe conditions as well, such as trees down on roadways. Lastly, always be safe while afield and help us protect and conserve our natural resources at Fort Belvoir. For more information, please call the Conservation Branch at 703-915-5682. This concludes with the Bowhunters orientation. Congratulations and good luck.